Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories cutscene commentary. It's time to move on to another floor! Yay!
What if it's more things?
Huh?
Goofy was telling us about another castle we'd been to, but none of us really remembers it. Do you think? Could it be that we don't remember because we're losing our memories?
Losing our memories?
Hold on. Remember what that mystery fella said? In this place, to find is to lose, and to lose is to find. It must have been our memories he was talking about losing.
So if we keep going, we'll lose more. Guess it really is Castle Oblivion.
So the higher we go, the more we'll forget. Does that mean everything and everybody will be forgotten?
Riku and Kairi too.
Do you want to go back?
Don't worry, fellers. We might forget about where we've been or what things we've seen, but we won't forget who our friends are.
I don't know.
Come on, Sora. When you turned into a Heartless, did you forget about me and Donald?
Of course I didn't.
There you go. No matter what happens, you won't forget your friends.
Oh. You're right. Thank you, Goofy.
So if there's nothing here that can make you forget about your friends, then we have nothing to be scared of. Let's go!
But when I turned into a Heartless, who was the one who took forever to notice and kept clobbering me?
How come you couldn't forget about that?
Oh, I do love that little touch, it's great! And so, we enter into the Olympus Coliseum, which I believe they may have changed slightly in terms of the gameplay, if only because I remember way back when the game came out, I had a friend who actually got it on Game Boy Advance, and I remember him telling me about it, and I remember him having quite a lot of trouble at Olympus Coliseum, I think because it had there was this sort of race thing, and I don't know whether they had something slightly different going on with the gameplay, because my memory of that time is really quite bad. I have blocked a lot of stuff out of my childhood. And it's kind of strange because basically the whole gist of the plot that they went with for Olympus Coliseum is that there's a race that is happening, I believe, of some description. Although that might be recoded. I believe it's here. We'll see in a minute anyway. But basically, you got to get to the end of this race, and there's all sorts of shenanigans that go on within it, if I recall correctly. But once again, that might be a completely different version of blooming Olympus Coliseum. I mean, what I do remember though is me actually getting into the Kingdom Hearts series. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before, but you know, since new game, might as well go into it, because it's been a long time since I probably have told the story, and also whether I actually have told the story or not, it's a different kettle of fish. So, when the game initially came out, obviously that was a very long time ago now, well over a decade ago, and I didn't really care that much about it. I didn't really want to bother with it. Like, it was just sort of a very peripheral game. Like, at the time I was very much more into me Pokemon and me Nintendo stuff. And while we had a PS2 in the house, it kind of just passed me by. And then there are a bunch of guys at school who were playing it, and I think the thing that I distinctly remember was them talking about the Cave of Wonders in Agrabah and fighting the Cave of Wonders. And I don't remember the specifics of the conversation, but I do distinctly remember that conversation taking place. And I don't know whether that sort of slightly piqued my interest or not. But then at some point, when I went round to one of my friend's houses, which was one of those people who was talking about Kingdom Hearts, and was also the same one who I remember talking to about Chain of Memories, we sat down and we played a bit of it. So, for some reason he introduced me to the end of the game, the final boss. I don't know why he decided that was a good idea, but he did. And I was just like, oh, I do actually quite like the cut of this jib. And oh yes, because it is a race. I am right in this one. Yeah, so I was intrigued by that, and then I started a new game, and I was playing through it and was really enjoying myself. And that is ultimately what inspired me to then actually get the game, because it's just like, I really want to actually play the rest of this story. And I'm so blooming glad I did, because obviously the series has then gone on to have quite a lot of significance to me in terms of just everything about it. I mean, the fact that I've been following this series now for well over a decade is... when you've stayed with the series for that long, you're always going to have a very special place in your heart for it. It's the same with Pokemon, it's the same with Mario, it's the same with Sonic, to be fair, although that one I am backing off of more and more as each disappointment comes out. Please, for the love of God, let the next one be actually decent. That would be nice. But yeah, so it then, became very special to me. So I will always be very grateful to that friend. Because while we're not friends anymore, because he ended up being a bit of a dick, I'll still be very grateful to him for that. He's also the root of my belief, the belief that I have in my head that it is definitely possible to fight Kairi in the original Kingdom Hearts. I know that this isn't possible. I've not been able to find it anywhere, ever, in the entirety of the internet. But I've got the memory in my head, which, I mean, Chain of Memories is obviously saying finds to lose to find, the whole thing of sometimes when you replay memories, they replace the real ones and you can end up with really falsified memories, actually. I remember actually seeing it. I remember seeing it in a guide of some description, and I seem to recall actually fighting her when me and my friend were doing that sort of new game run. And I don't know why that is, like, I've got that in my head that actually happened, but there is no proof anywhere on the internet. It's the type of thing that, you know, the internet would have definitely found out about and would have definitely exploited. So yeah, would have definitely been a thing, and that would have been able to find out about, but I can't, so I'm assuming that my memory is just completely mistaken on that point. But it will always be a nice thing to want to have happened, and hey, you can't win them all. But yeah, that is basically the route of me into the Kingdom Hearts series. I seem to have a thing with getting interested in games from their finales, because the reason I got the Professor Layton series was because I had seen sort of the finale battle in Professor Layton and Pandora's Box. And I'm just like, oh, hadn't been interested in that series because I'm just like, I don't do puzzle games. I get really frustrated at puzzles. But then that story was just like, and the music, and I was just like, oh, okay, maybe I'll give this a shot. And I did, and then yeah, I've played every single game in that series apart from the weird ass one that was on the iPhone, iOS, Android stuff that wasn't really a proper Professor Layton game, so I just ignored it. And so yeah, I then got into that series. I'm trying to think if there's any others where I'd watched the finale and that was what instigated my purchase. I can't think of any others at present. Kingdom Hearts 1 and Professor Layton are definitely two that I've got in the memory banks that I know, and they're definite facts. But, I mean, there might have been a few others. But, hey, that's another floor completed. Yay! This goes so much quicker when you're not actually having to play the game.
I had to be sure that I hadn't forgotten them.
How'd that go for you?
Good. I remembered where I had first to find the king.
Well, I remember that too. The king helped save everything by staying on the other side of the door to darkness, I think.
You got it, Goofy.
And me? I'm looking for Riku. He was with the king when the door closed. I guess there's no way we'll forget the most important memories.
That's good, 'cause I don't want to forget.
You seem pretty intrigued by this Sora kid.
Are you telling me you're not Larxene?
Haven't decided yet. I think what intrigues me more is what you see in him.
There was a time he became a Heartless. And if one becomes a Heartless...
They lose their minds and their feelings. They're consumed by the darkness.
Right, but not Sora. He held on to his feelings even as a Heartless. And there's only one other man who's been able to do just that.
It's the strength of his heart. That's what interests you. Why the Keyblade shows Sora's heart.
To unlock the mysteries of the heart. Isn't that the organization's mission?
I wonder if there's anything we've forgotten.
If we did, what would it have been? I can't think of anything, so maybe that means that I really am losing my memories. But whatever they were, they couldn't have been very important memories, right?
Right. Or else I don't think you would have forgotten it. Look,
What is it?
a good luck charm Kairi gave me. It's special to her, so I promised that I would return it. I'll never forget making that promise. It's why I could never forget Kairi. Am I right, Kairi? Huh? Oh? Do I know that girl?
Hey, Sora! Where did you go?
Sorry, never mind.
We better keep going.
So yes, as we now enter a brand new world, which is Wonderland, yay. We get the introduction of Naminé kind of putting her probes into Sora's memory. And it's a relatively slow burn, that one, actually, which I'm quite impressed by. Kingdom Hearts doesn't necessarily always do subtlety, but does a relatively good job of slowly but surely introducing Namine into Sora's memories. It's quite effective as well. But yes, I don't know whether we've really dealt with... So we had Larxene there. I believe that we are going to probably end up going up to her fight at some point in this episode, I want to say. We'll see. But yes, obviously with Axel, you've got Quentin Flynn, who is just amazing. But Larxene is really brilliantly voiced by Chanel Workman, who is best known for playing the role of Sarah Flash Roberts on ABC soap opera One Life to Live, and Gabriella Gabby Moreno Forrester on the CBS soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful. She's been in a few video games, although I think most people would recognise her as being Karen in Dino Crisis 3, Pasadena Possum in Crash Tag Team Racing, Millie in Bait and Kato's Origins, and then for being the voice of Larxene in all of the Kingdom Hearts games. And she is confirmed to be voicing Larxene when she returns in Kingdom Hearts 3, which is delightful, because I would say that of all of the voice actors that they got in to voice the organisation, because obviously this came just after Kingdom Hearts 2, so they'd given like Xigbar, Luxord, Demyx, Zaldin, Xemnas, Axel, and so on and so forth voices. But the members of the organisation who are not present, because, you know, they in this game, and stuff is going to happen to them in this game. There weren't voice actors for Larxene, Marluxia, Zexion, Vexen, Lexaeus, yeah, I think they're the key players. So they were all introduced for Chain of Memories. I know that I have definitely missed 2 members of the organisation there. Because I'm just like, no, my maths is not adding up. Who have I forgotten? Let's see. Who are the 2 most forgettable members of the organisation? Oh no, I did actually get them all. I mean, I know there was Roxas, but I should have... Oh my god. I forgot Sayax. I can't quite believe that. He's one of the more memorable members of the organisation. I forgot him. Oh, I've got this point. It's what happens when you've got 13 characters and you're just like, there's too many of them to properly remember. So they had the VAs for Demyx, Luxord, Zaldin, Xigbar, Axel, Sayax, and Xemnas, and obviously Roxas, but Roxas isn't really in this game. But they didn't have anybody for Marluxia, Lexaeus, Zexion, Larxene, and Vexen. But they were all given voice actors for this, and then they've basically stayed with the cast in every time the characters have appeared since then. Although there's not been too many times where they've been needed for full-on voice work, even though the characters have been present. I'm thinking like 358 of 2 Days doesn't have that many voiced cutscenes that have a lot of the characters in it. So I'm pretty sure Larxene, the voice clips that are heard in that game of Larxene are just stock audio. So really, Chanel Workman technically had only voiced Larxene in Return of Memories, and then they just used voice clips of her throughout the rest of the time that the character existed, and then it's only been Kingdom Hearts 3 where they're finally getting her back in to do some full-on voice acting, which I do love, because I would say that Larxene's probably one of, if not the most fitting voice actor that they got in, because Larxene as a character is just... She's the only female in the entirety of the organisation, but she's easily one of the most detestable, and it's because she's such a cowbag, and it's very effective of making her a villain that you love to hate. And I think that Chanel Workman just does a really phenomenal job of portraying that. Just the voice she is, Larxene, is just so smarmy, it's insane, and I really do quite think it's amazing. So I do think she was a very good choice to voice Larxene. But yes, obviously, in here we had the delight of facing down the Trickmaster again. If I recall correctly from playing Retrain of Memories, it's one of the more frustrating boss battles, because obviously with your limited abilities, you can very quickly get screwed over in the fight. And you really do want the gimmick card to turn up as often as possible, because what that does is it puts you on the table and makes it easier to hit the Trickmaster. But there we go. Thankfully, we don't have to play. You see, while I'm sure there will be some people who are disappointed that I'm not actually playing through Retainer Memories, for me, this just means that, you know, I can focus on the bit of the game that I actually care about, which is the plot. And I don't have to worry about facing down these rather infuriating boss battles. Because some of them are really infuriating. I mean, particularly the ones against Larxene, because they're really challenging. Really challenging. But we are at the end of another floor, and voice cutscenes, ahoy! Delightful.
But another girl? Maybe... I think her name was...
Sarah! Let's go! You want to find Rico and the kid, don't you?
Sure. Man, it was right on the tip of my tongue. I remember.
Huh?
There was another girl.
What? A girl? Where?
No. I mean on the islands where I used to live. Besides Kairi and Riku, there was one other girl I was friends with. The four of us played together all the time.
Sora? Seems to me that's the first time you've mentioned her.
Yeah. I guess I forgot all about her. I think she just suddenly went away when I was still really little.
What do you think makes you remember that now?
I'm not sure, but it's been coming back in pieces as we go through the castle.
Gorsh, do you remember her name?
I don't remember. I feel kinda dumb. We said we weren't gonna forget our friends, and well now, I can't even remember her name.
Sora!
Oh, you shouldn't be worrying none. If it's been coming back to you in pieces, you're sure to remember her name just like everything else.
So yes, Sora's due to remember her name. We all know it's Naminé, but obviously he doesn't know that yet, because this was actually obviously the first time that Naminé was introduced into the game. So it makes sense that he doesn't have a clue who she is, and to be fair, even after this game he doesn't have a clue who she is. So it's just us, the audience, who care to know. But look where we are. We're in the delight that is Monstro, everybody's favourite, least favourite world in Kingdom Hearts. I mean, thankfully in Chain of Memories it's not as nearly as infuriating as it was in the original Kingdom Hearts. Because the reason that it was very frustrating in the original Kingdom Hearts was because it was very much more of a maze, and you had all the different layers, and you had all these different doors to go through, and you could fall off and not get back up, and it was really infuriating. Whereas obviously here you've got your map, which lays everything out for you nice and easily, and just makes the whole process of getting through a lot simpler and a lot more enjoyable, to be honest. Like, while I have moaned a lot about the gameplay and the sort of really bland level design of Chain of Memories and Rechain of Memories, this is probably one instance where I would say it feels like an improvement. And that is basically, yeah, just because the level layout of Monstro in the original Kingdom Hearts was just truly appalling. And even though I love the original Kingdom Hearts, and I will defend some of its other flaws with my life, I will die on those hills, Monstro is not one of the things I would defend it for, because, yeah, it's just not really well constructed, shall we say. So having a much simpler layout works a treat for making this whole world much more bearable. Though once again, Pinocchio runs off to get himself into trouble, because Pinocchio is a bit of an asshole. He's probably one of the more infuriating Disney characters in the grand scheme of things. I remember watching Pinocchio not too long ago, actually. I think it's because I got the Blu-ray at Christmas, because I'm trying to, fill out my Disney Blu-ray collection, because of course I need to make sure that I've got the complete Disney collection. Surprising I don't already, but there you go. And yeah, Pinocchio's just a fool the entire time. Like, I know he's just been made a kid and he doesn't know anything, but he's just so gullible and it's taken him by everything. And I mean, Jiminy's not much better. I mean, I suppose also he's very new at being somebody's conscience, but it's just like, seriously, just listen to your conscience. It generally does lead you in the right direction. And if you're, like, don't talk to strangers. That's a pretty big thing when you're a kid on your own. I mean, Geppetto was a bit of a fool for sending him out to school on, like, his first day of life, and not taking him there himself, but there we go. Some people don't make very smart decisions in film mediums. It's a general thing. I mean, in most stories, really, a lot of people don't make smart decisions, because otherwise, if they made smart decisions, where would the drama be? Like, seriously. But, oh, look who it is! It's everybody's favourite creepy-ass tentacle boss, Parasite Cage. He's another quite challenging fight, because obviously the poisonous ground, and, the gimmick card is the one which really helps make it a lot easier, because you completely obliterate that from the battlefield and can fight on solid ground for a while. But he's still a really infuriating boss battle. And we don't even get to fully kill him. Pinocchio gets that. Monstro, I was just praising you for making this slightly better than the original. Don't make me go and retract that statement, thank you very much. So yeah, that basically brings us to the end of Monstro. Although, if I recall correctly, it's one of the odd ones where the rooms are a little bit out of order. So the middle room is the boss fight against Parasite Cage. The final room is a sort of... It's classified as a mini-game, but it's basically just killing Heartless and causing... Well, killing enough Heartless and causing enough chaos to get Monstro to spit Geppetto and Pinocchio out. So it's a bit of an odd one. I don't know... I can't remember whether there's a timer on it or not. There might be. But generally... It's a pretty easy end to the world, so, I mean, to be fair, I will take that after the frustration of Parasite Cage. But yeah, with that... Monstro is actually now beaten, complete, finito, and I never have to... Well, actually, yeah. Oh no. Do I... Might have to return to it in Recoded. Maybe. But in general, I never have to return to this world ever again. Apart from, you know, when I replay Kingdom Hearts Final Mix at some point. So that, you know, I played everything on the 1.5 plus 2.5 HD remix collection. The only reason I haven't replayed Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 is because, you know, have already played them. So they're in that backlog of, do I really want to replay this right now? There are other games coming out which I should probably play first. There are also other games in my backlog which I should probably play first. So, but that is the end of another floor, and it is time for another end floor cutscene. Cutscene. Oh god.
Just bits and pieces.
Maybe you could try telling us some more stuff about her. Who knows? It might even help you remember other things.
Well, she was quiet and always drawing. When we'd go to the beach, she'd draw a picture instead of swimming. Sometimes she'd draw us too. She was really good. I remember Riku and I fighting over who she'd draw next. But one day, she was gone. Just like that. I think the grown-ups knew the reason. They might even have tried to explain some of it to me. But I was little. I probably didn't understand what was happening. I remember crying after she was gone. But that's all. I still don't remember her name.
Oh, I bet you'll remember it in no time.
I must point out, Sora keeps remembering things instead of forgetting them. It seems to me, forgetting things may be the only way to reach the memories buried deeper down inside each of us.
So we should forget in order to remember?
Like those guys said, our most precious memories lie so deep in our hearts that they're out of reach. All that stuff about finding being losing and losing being finding, I didn't get it at first, but maybe this is what they meant.
Gosh, Sora, I think I'm a little jealous of you. How come me and Donald and Jiminy aren't remembering more of the stuff from our memories?
Come on, Goofy! Let's get going! We gotta forget things faster!
There's certainly one way to look at it. Oh dear.
Just as we intended.
We'll continue with our plan. Let's see how far this group will go.
You had your fun on the first floor. So this time, it's my turn. I'm not going to just give it to him.
Don't break him.
Well, do I detect a soft spot? I'm not gonna break the toy. I'm not dumb.
Don't forget, Sora is the key. We need him if we're going to take over the organization.
I know that you're in on it too. But keep it under your hood, at least until the time is right.
You would have been wise to have done the same, Larxene.